We're in Shaar Aleph Parak Dalet in the middle, and we're learning about the koach that we don't know that we have, we didn't realize that we have, and that's the koach ha'adam b'bria. And what we discussed was, just to catch up very briefly, what we discussed is that the way Hashem created the world, He created us, people, particularly Jews, B'Tselem Elikim, and the purpose of being B'Tselem Elikim is that it's important in order for us to do our task of continuing on the Bria. In other words, Hashem made the whole Bria, the Shemayim, the Aretz, the Chavim, the Yamim, the fish, the rabbits, everything. And now it needs to be continued in a way that Hashem wants it, so He put us in charge of that. So we're not just like a more sophisticated rabbit or a more sophisticated monkey. Tzelem Elikim. They're not B'Tzelem Elikim. And for this He gave us the Koach HaDibur, because B'Asar Ma'amares Nivra Olam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world B'Maimor with Dibur. So it has to be perforce that the Basar V'Dam has this Koach of Dibur to continue making the creation. And you see that it's a very sophisticated level of creation that we do, because as we learned from the Zohar, the creation that we do is not only when you build something, you build a house, or even when you procreate, but every machshava, every dibur, every maisa, everything that we do, everything that goes on in our lave has an effect in terms of the Shemayim, but not this way, like to the world, like I say something to you that has an effect, but it has an effect in the sense that everything that we do is mechuvan, our lave is mechuvan keneged the lave Kaviyachal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does in this world is totally very much in our lave and in our machshav and in our dibur and our maisa, but particularly the lave, which is the life force of the person and the center of the circulatory system of the Brias HaAdam. So that's what's going on. So if there's something wrong in our lave, let's say sinas chinam is an example, is a good example. If there's sinas chinam in the lave, so what happens is that sinas chinam evaporates to the Shemayim, and now we've just broken the Bria. And this will manifest itself first and foremost in the Beis HaMikdash, because the Beis HaMikdash is the Liboy Shel Olam. So it goes like this, the circle, and you can break that circuit anywhere along. You can break it into, this is important for what we're going to learn today, it's a circle. Hashem made the circle. So we're in control, but we're not in control because Hashem made the circle. But in this circle, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if He wants to, can obviously break the circle and destroy the world anytime He wants, but He doesn't. Brisi, made a bris, but He's not going to do that. But if the circle gets broken anywhere along the line, and the line being the main points of the circle are the Lev Ha'adam, the Moach Hashem, the Zohar says, the Lev Hashem, which is the Beis HaMikdash Shamala, the Beis HaMikdash Shamata, and then back to us. We have to be careful not to break that anywhere, because then we're actually destroying the world. That's a key thing. I spoke to the women somewhere a couple of nights ago, and so somebody said, "Oh, that's like the butterfly effect." The butterfly effect means that a butterfly flutters its wings someplace in China could create a tornado in Kenya. So, okay, no, but that's a scientific fact, but that's not what we're talking about. That's wrong, because that's this way. What we're talking about is something, we're not talking about creating a little wind and it grows and it grows and it grows. We're talking about actually making a change in the circle of the Bria. If we understand how the Bria works, we understand that this is how powerful of an idea this is. But here he says, I just want to be medayik in a different nakuda here, or a little bit of a further nakuda. Just if you find it inside, im kain, if so, says the Nefesh Hachaim. You read this fast, it sounds like a little bit of Musar, which is good. If you read it carefully, you see that it's like Mamash Yisoidus Habriya here, not just a little bit of Musar. Im kain be'es asher yasser ha'adam lachshe bilvava. If a person falls, yasur, and follows, like sasura achrei levavchem, in his heart, machshava asher loy tahira b'niyuf. Let's say a person fantasizes niyuf, znus, in his heart. Harehu. Now, you didn't actually do anything wrong in Maisa, but we know that Maisa is not the whole story. In fact, Maisa is the most superficial of the story. And even though we hold Dvar Shabbalei Vedam Dvarim Halacha, things have to come L'Maisa, that's only because if it doesn't come L'Maisa, that it wasn't a complete Machshava B'Leiv. That's the Lamdas. That's how that works. Rabbi's Machshava is B'Leiv. You know, I'm gonna build a skyscraper. Okay. You can think all you want. If you didn't build it, some people build it and some people think about it. So some people think about learning Shas and some people learn Shas. You know, so if the Dvar Shabbalei Vedam Dvarim, if it gets stuck in the lave, there was something wrong with the Machshava Gufa, then it's not coming L'Idei Maisa. But so let's focus on the lave part of it. So if a person Chas v'Shalom has a Machshava of Znus, Machshava didn't do anything wrong. I keep quoting, maybe erroneously, it was a Jimmy Carter says it's okay to lust in your heart. He said Jimmy Carter.
Playboy interview. Interview with Playboy.
Playboy. I don't know how I missed that. It's not okay. Why isn't it okay? Because if a person has a machshava of znus b'leiv, so in that the leiv, harehu machniz zoina. Now he's taking a zona, semel hakina, which we need to understand, which is the symbol of kina. Why? I just put this in background. Why is the zona semel hakina? But beves kodshei hakadashim ha'elyon. The heart is a kodshei kadashim. And now, if I put that in my heart, so now what am I doing? In my circle here, I'm putting znus into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, which is going into the Kodesh HaKadoshim Labala, and coming into the world as znus. Whatever that means. So what happens when you do that? Machmir Rachmana Litzlan, Koichos HaTuma, V'Sitra Achra, B'Veis Kodshei HaKadoshim Ha'elyon. Now you're giving koach to the Sitra Achra, in the Kodshei HaKadoshim Ha'elyon. Let's read the words and I'm going to try to explain this. In the Kodshei HaKadoshim Ha'elyon and Shemayim, that's what that Machshava did. Now I've been Magbir, I have given strength to the Sitra Achra Labala. Harbe Yoiser v'Yoiser, and that's much more profound. Mimashe Nigram, his Gabris Koyach HaTuma, Idei Titus, Batziyo Zaydu Veis Kodshei HaKadoshim Labata. So here's what happens. Titus HaRasha, the Roman, comes and he brings, for some reason, of all the things that he could think to do, he brings a zona into the base Kodesh HaKadoshim. It wasn't to do znus. He's got plenty of places to do znus, and I'm sure he was a regular pro. But he brings it into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. What's going on in his head?
Some kind of symbol.
Something. He's doing something, right? So now that does damage. But where is that damage done? The damage is done in the Mikdash Shel Mata. Terrible. It's terrible. You're B'chalal HaKodesh. No question. It's terrible. But you can't compare, says Reb Chaim Volozhin, the damage that's done here to the damage which is done here. And the damage which is done here is the Znus, which is B'leiv Yisrael. That's coming, which he says includes in it for some reason all of Kina. All of Kina. That's putting something into the Shemayim, into the Leiv Sheba Shemayim, going then down to the Leiv Yerushalayim. That's what gave Titus this chutzpah to begin with, the koach to begin with. So if you look at the circle, what he's saying is, where's the more profound part of the circle? Where's the most profound damage that can be done to the circle, or for that matter, good stuff that can be done to the circle? It's what you're doing in Shemayim that's important. And how do you affect most what's going on in Shemayim? What's going on in the Leiv? So the Leiv is the connector here, which takes the circuit all the way to the Shemayim, and now it's going to come down. And by the way, this doesn't take 1,000 years. This could take us a millisecond. It's not like, oh boy, my grandchildren are going to suffer. Where does Dibor play into that? Dibor, if the Dibor is coming min haleiv, so then you've taken your leiv even a step further. It's even worse. In other words, Dibor Machshava, Dibor Baisa, these are all madregas of Machshava. That's why I say the lumdus here is extremely important. That Machshava, Dibor, and Baisa are not independent concepts. That Machshava, real Machshava will bring to Dibor. Real Machshava will bring to Dibur and Maisa. So a Maisa, that's why you find something like Avera Lishma, Gadol Avera Lishma, Mitzvah Shalai Lishma. What is it we got over there? Avera Lishma means, look, my Machshava was good, but the Maisa wasn't so good. Okay, that's not so good. But it's better than Mitzvah Shalai Lishma. What's the other case? The other case is where you did the right thing, but the wrong thought. I did it for covet, I did it for whatever I did it for. So now I've got the right Maisa. So at least, so the Gemara says, this is the Gemara in Nasir. At least if I did an Avera Lishma, I'm not recommending this, I'm just saying that at least if you did an Avera Lishma, at least you got the Machshava part right. Now you messed up on the Dibur and the Maisa. Masha'kein, if you get the Maisa part right, but your Machshava is Shaloi Lishma, so now you're on a profound level. You've done less. So Gadol, says the Gemara, Gadol Avera Lishma, Gadol Avera Lishma, Mitzvah Shaloi Lishma. I'd rather you have good on the lave level than you have good on the Maisa level. That's what the Gemara says. The Gemara, Halacha, Midol and Miyoel, right? Yoel Eishes Hakeim. So you see here how the interplay of Machshava Dibur and Maisa. So this is the first you said. Let's go one more paragraph that I want to go back and explain. V'chein. Also, kol chet asher kol ish Yisrael machnis b'liboy chas v'shalom eish zara. There are chatoyim, a different type of chatoyim, and this chet is called eish zara. I brought a foreign fire. Who did that? And this is called kas. A Shaar taivas rois. Haloyu mamish kinin akasu beis kotshenu v'sifartenu asher hayu l'sreifas eish. It's the, in other words, here I brought something into my heart which is not zaina, but is kas. And by bringing kas, it's different. Different type of a person who's bekas will never think about znus. Person who's beznus won't necessarily be a kaisa. Znus is an avera which comes from an overemphasis of the midas hachesed of the spheres. Hakol b'seder. Hakol yafeh. Kas is midas haish. Hakol lo b'seder. No, it's good here. It's terrible what's going on. Can't stand it. It's kas. Opposite is znus. Go on, look at that. I see the danger of kas. It's opposite. Excuse me. I'm officially relying on you.
Yeah. I think something came off over there.
Does now?
What's that black thing?
The red light was on that side.
Okay, thank you. Koach of kas.
Ah, there you go.
So I want to be medayik here. And by the way, this kas is a sort of a midah keneged midah, in the sense that what does it bring? It brings streifas beis elokeinu. That's what Yeshayahu said. Kas is midas hasreifa. Sreifa is midah of destruction. Opposite of znus, sort of. One's chesed, one's gevur.
I'll say Savorazar, right? Kas is like your whatever.
Kol hakoyes ki lo eved avodah zarah. So let me say this. I want to explain something here. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, extremely important. Paragraph 1, look carefully. He's talking about koiches hatuma v'asitra achra. Paragraph 2, he's talking about eish zara. Nadav and Avihu were not accused of tumah, sitra achra. Let's divide everything into two. And I believe this is, if I'm right about this is very yesodistic. Everything into two. There's the issues, the category of tumah, and the categories of eish zara. What's tumah? What's eish zara? What is tumah? Mayesh, a kohen goes and touches a mace. Mayesh. Or an isha nida. That's tumah, that's all it is. Kares. what's like mayesh? like what's it? Like some kind of a impurity, as it's always translated, which I believe is incorrect. Contaminated? Are you contaminated? L'chayv kares. Like there's such a thing as tuma, and then there's H zara, which is a much more words we don't use as much, but an equally important concept. So I want to make perhaps a feeble attempt at explaining tuma. What's tuma? What is it? It's the nature of tuma that's so bad.
Absence of love.
Oh, very good. Yeah. You know, I have a Rebbe, Rav Shapiro Shlita. So he's a baki in Kollel Torah, but his expertise, you imagine, is in Seder Taurus. Which is the most complicated, boring part of the whole Shas. Somebody asked him, why is he like Taurus so much, as opposed to Masechta Brachos or Moed, or so he says it's just the most interesting. Okay. Each to his own, right? There's people like that, right? But I was at a, just a brief story, I was at a chasana, and they put me at this table at this chasana. It was in the old city, with this table at chasana, so I'm sitting with Rav Shapiro and this retired rabbi from America. Good guy, I don't remember his name. He was a good man. He was learning Daf Yomi or whatever, so he asked, I was just sitting there, but this rabbi asked for Moshe Shapiro, out of the blue, some kasha on a Mishnah in Taurus, I have to admit I wasn't even sure what subject he was talking about, but he was holding in the Mishnah, and Rav Shapiro obviously was not holding in the Mishnah, and I didn't know anything about the Mishnah one way or the other. But he asks him about this Mishnah in Taurus, he explains to him, this is about Chlekes, the Rash and the Rambam, and he explains to him the whole thing, and he tells him exactly what the pshat. Beautiful, it was just a beautiful pshat. And this fellow was first of all, very honored that it was an important question, and second of all, that it was a very inspiring moment. And then he asked him a question about an agadata in Masechta Brachos on Lamed Ches. It was like a philosophical question, which is Rav Shapiro's expertise. So he asked him a question of agadata, and Rav Moshe said, "That I have to think about for a few days. I can't just answer a question like that al makom." Everybody's giving opinions on agadatas. Taurus, all right, I can think about for a few days. I'll look it up. I'll Google it, Wiki, whatever. You'll figure it out. But it's the pshat in a gadol, it goes exactly the opposite. Taurus is technical, but what's the fun of Taurus? I just want to explain something here. Lafi ad makam sheyadi magas. I'm not, but Tumah, the makar of Tumah, if you look in the Sfarim, comes from what's called in Kabbalistic terminology the Zuhamas HaNachash, meaning that the Nachash, besides for whatever the deal was there, besides for having the power of persuasion over Chava and hence over Adam, the Nachash injected some type of a zuama into Chava. The Zayar says that it was Ba'ala. He actually had relations with Chava. But we see it as some type of a venom, that the Nachash, put into Chava. The Garam Misa Lo'olam. Garam Misa Lo'olam. The way that works is as follows. When Hashem created the world in His infinite and mysterious wisdom, He created the world, and the world needs energy, right? You don't have to not like an electric car. You got to plug in your heart every night while you're it just works, the nature just works. Trees grow, works. Where's all this energy coming from? So there's a great generator in Shemayim, which is generating the life force into this world. He created along with it something called the Sitra Achra. Sitra Achra, in terms that we can understand, is a parallel generator, which is also generating life and also generating koach. And Lefi the Arizal, the koach of the Sitra Achra is even stronger than the koach of the Sitra de Kedusha. Sitra means side, Achra means other, the other side. So just imagine in your minds, and I hope I'm not being a reductionist here. I mean, I know I'm being a reductionist, but I hope it's okay. If you can imagine Shamayim, that there's two possibilities of energizing the world. You can energize the world with Kedusha, and you can energize the world with Sitra Achra. Anything that's energized with Sitra Achra is called Tumah. You get it? It means like this, like, where am I getting my energy from? So right now we're learning Torah. So as we learn Torah, we get energy to talk, energy to listen. I'm not sure which takes more energy, but whatever, we're having energy to learn. And that energy is coming from a koach HaKedusha, I hope. You're actually getting a flow of Kedusha into our system. If the person's a real tzaddik, you can see it. Chachmas Adam Ta'ir Panav. You can actually see. You can actually see a difference. If in the middle of this learning Torah, we all decide to start talking Lashon Hara. So it's not just like, whoa, Bittul Torah, whoa, Aveira. We have now just taken the plug out of the great generator in Shemayim called Kedushin, we've plugged it into the Sitra Achra. And you'll see something very fascinating. We'll be more energized than we were before. We'll be more excited, we'll have more koach. If you were sleeping, you'll wake up. Why? Because the Sitra Achra is a stronger voltage than the Sitra de Kedusha. What's coming out of it, though, that which is being produced from the koach of the Sitra Achra, is Tumah. Why did Hashem do this, first of all?
Good question.
Good question. Pashut Pshat is, otherwise there would be no Bechira Chavshus. The Bechira Chavshus of a person on a deep level is not, am I going to talk Lashon Hara, or am I going to talk Torah right now? That's how it manifests itself, b'dibur u'b'maisa. But b'machshava, the Bechira Chavshus of a person is, where do I want to get my energy from? Am I getting it from generator A or generator B? What am I going to eat? Am I going to eat some, kale and turnips, or am I going to eat some junk food? Which will give you more energy, possibly on the short term, the sugar, the junk, the trans fat, that'll give you more energy. Problem with it is that you die. The problem, the major marker between something which comes, and it's hard to tell for us plain people, what's coming from koach HaKedusha, what's coming from koach HaTumah, the main marker is that koach HaKedusha is eternal, nitzchi like Hashem, it'll last forever. Koach HaTumah looks really strong, very entertaining, very, very exciting. It dies. Hence, the sebel of Tumah is Misa. Because if not for the fact that there was Tumah in the world, there would be no Misa in the world. See, why is a Nida Tameh? A mace is Tameh because it's Misa. Why is a Nida Tameh? Because what's happening there is that when a woman is in her days of fertility, and there's an endometrium, and there's a possibility of creating life, Kedusha. Not that her, but what it represents. When there's a breakdown of the endometrium, and that's a geder of Misa. The menstrual flow is a geder of Misa, which will have a Tchias HaMesim. But the fact is that it's a Misa, and that Misa represents Tumah in this world. So this is what's important to how does the Nachash get into this? Here's Adam, Chava, Gan Eden. Everything is going to last forever. The trees are going to last forever. The animals are going to last forever. And they're going to last forever. There was no Misa in the world. Why? Because everything came from a shorish of Kedusha. Comes the Nachash along, which is the Bria of the Sitra Achra. And the Nachash says to Chava, let me tell you something. I'll teach you a little Kabbalah. That just like in the Shamayim there is a Sitra de Kedusha, And that Sitra Kedusha is telling you, don't eat from this eitz. There's also a Sitra Achra. And you can have the same power, v'yisem kelokim yodea tov v'ra. You could get your same koach somewhere else, and you might even get more das, more excited, more entertainment. It'll be fun. It's a fun ride. So, says the Nachash, that instead of, I'm just teaching you something, he says, instead of just getting your koach boring from the koach of Kedusha, why not plug in a little bit to this eitz that Hashem says, don't eat from it, and you'll eat from it, and now you'll be nana from the shirish of Sitra Achra, and you'll be able to, nothing will happen, you won't die. Isn't that what he said? But what happened? They did die. They did die. Because the major marker of Sitra Achra, which let's call its pipeline is Tumah, the major marker, the major way that you can know, at least ipso facto, that that's what took place is Musa.
So is it Chava's kavana, is it her thought process that caused it?
Ainli Musa. But what I don't know what she was thinking.
Machshava.
but what happened was that she took she made a choice to bring Yetzer Hara into the world. That's called Zuamas Hanocha, Shemevi Misa La'olam. The Zuamas Hanocha means that, okay, there's a possibility in this world of being Nana Mikoya Chatum. And that's what Tumah is. Are you with me on this? That's what Tumah is. So what we have is, this is the trio here. You have the Sitra Achra, the generator of junk food in Shamayim, which is coming down into a pipeline. And it's not whatever is generating, life is being generated from it. Tons of life is being generated. The jails are full. Life is generated from this. And it's even more exciting. Somebody described to me recently that they were telling me about their teenage son. That was a good boy. It's hard to be a teenager. But he escaped from home.
Escaped
for an hour or two, went to Yerushalayim, and went to a street in Yerushalayim, which you're probably not familiar with, because at least I'm not familiar with it, called Crack Square. Kishmoy Canaan. So, like if you go anyways,
Don't tell us.
I'll give you exactly where it is. Now, and did nothing wrong.
Google Maps.
Did nothing wrong. A lapse, right? Exactly like you said. Look, I'm not, everybody, I always say this, like people are always asking me, like, I guess I'm an enigmatic, confusing person. People always ask me, are you like a BT or are you an FFB? So I always tell them, like, I'm an FFB WSL, FFB from for birth with slight lapses here and there. Okay, so this is a lapse. It did nothing wrong. But what was that? I asked the what's the? If you do anything wrong, what'd you go for? Like, well, just the music, the freedom, the hefkeiros, it just break out. Needed to feel that Sitra Achra a little bit. My teaching of Reb Chaim Volozhin would not have helped this situation at all, I don't think. But I'm just explaining what's going on here. What's going on here is that there's a certain kind of energy that you just don't necessarily find in a base medrash. And that energy is a Sitra Achra, but it brings Misa. It's just Misa. It's maybe Misa L'olam, not an Oynish. It's just not something which is going to last. And anybody who's had any kasher with Tumah knows that it's exciting for the moment. There's nothing sustainable. There's no sustainability to it. Masha'en came something with its kedusha will go to your children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. L'netzach. It'll always be there. That's the difference between kedusha and Torah.
So why isn't it that it seems to me that like a person doing chatayim should make them tamei? Like if you're bringing more tumah into the world rather than death, tzaddikim die also, and it seems like it's not.
You're right, and I'm sure that's true. But I'm sure that is tumah. But
it's not how we mark tumah.
The semel of tumah is misa, because that's what we can see. We don't see what happens when you do a chet. We see misa. Misa is a marker. It's not the, in other words, when we talk about markers, let's say medical markers or scientific markers, we're not talking about, what's goreng what. We're talking about, here's a siman. It's a siman, right? Not a seed. But misa is a good siman as to what wasn't real. So look, the Romans went into the Beis HaMikdash. They were machalo the Beis HaMikdash, had a big party at the Beis HaMikdash. It was exciting, and the whole Rome was, building arches and making parades and all excited. But where are the Romans? Where are the Romans? It's a shaynish dog in Romans. They're making pizza. So it was
How did the Kohen feed to the sefer by touching the mace? He didn't do anything wrong.
He did this. In other words, your semel has to always be attached to Chaim. Once you move to Misa, so in terms of the semel, don't even get near Misa because that's coming from a different place. Do you understand that? Like, I just give you two examples of this, and we'll get back to Nefesh Hachaim here. But we daven when we bench that lo yal yedei matnas basar v'dam, lo yal yedei havasam. It's a tefillah that used to be important. We want ki'im. I want my parnasa to come yadcha hamleya hapsucha hakidoisha harachava nikiya. If I want my sustenance, what are we saying there? We're saying something so simple. We're saying it's so simple. We're saying I don't want matnas basar v'dam. Who knows what went into that matnas basar v'dam? Can you be 100% sure that it's b'kedusha b'tara, that it's? But I want my parnasa to come miyadcha. Now, obviously, it's going to come through something. I mean, it's going to come either through business, falling down from Shemayim. But I want it to come miyadcha, meaning I want it to come from a makar of tahara, which will last. It'll be alive. It'll be real. It'll be healthy. Will it be as exciting? Perhaps not. But it might not even be as rich, but it's there. It's real. It's authentic. It has integrity. That's the Shaar Kedusha. I'll just read you one thing here. Before we get back to this is written by Reb Chaim Vital, Talmud Muvak of the Arizal. Yeah? He says as follows: Moiri HaArizal, hayamakbid ba'ovain hakas yoser mikol shar averos. Now, I just want to ask you to think about this because, we talked about an oven of znus, even belev, and we talked about an oven of kas. What's the avera of kas? My temperament. I have a hot temperament. I mean, why is it like I lose my temper? Huh? Like what's the nekuda? I think I can explain what the nikud is, but there's, it's just like a personality, right? It's just, a person's a kaisen, it's just a personality. We all know people, we have to walk on eggshells around them. They're bad people, tame people, they're kaisen. You stay away because it's uncomfortable. He was more worried about kas than he was worried about any other avera. I read someplace that the Arizal, in fact, was a kaisen by nature. He was a kaisen. Afilu kishu, we think about him as, Arizal. Kishu kayes, afilu kishu kayes v'shvil mitzvah, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't get bekas. Says Reb Chaim Vital that the Arizal said a reason why he's so careful about kas more than about muksa. Ki harei kol shar aveiros. If you do an avera, einam poigmin elo kol avera v'avera pogemus be'ever. I do avera with my hand, I was poging my hand. I do avera with my tongue, I'm poging my tongue. Avol midas hakas pogemus kol haneshama kula. Like it's one thing if you hurt your hand, you hurt your foot, you hurt your ear, you hurt your nose, or you hurt your heart. You hurt your heart, you're poging the whole body, right? A person's bekas, pagemis kola neshama kula umachlefes oisa legamri. Listen to these words. Machlefes oisa legamri. What does that mean? Gil?
Replaces it completely.
Machlefes, the kas takes over the neshama legamri. Listen to this. Ayinyanu. Ki kasher yichos ha'adam, so the Reb Chaim Vital speak. Yichos kasher yichos ha'adam. The moment the person becomes angry, hine, here's a mechanism for you. Haneshama hakadoshah mistalekes mimenu legamri. You lose your neshama entirely. V'nichnesas b'mekayma. Nature abhors a vacuum. Something's got to be there. So, nichnesas b'mekayma nefesh mitzad haklipa. There's another way of saying sitra achra. The other side. You are now being generated by, you look at somebody who's bekas, understand that's what's generating him right now, and that's why he's talking louder, and he's more excited, and he's more hot-headed, and he can even lift up a car. Kas is tremendous, tremendous, tremendous koach. People get themselves angry just to, like you watch these, boxers and the rest of fighter, get themselves angry just to be able to have that kind of adrenaline release and have that koach. What you're looking at right now is koach ha-sitra achra.
Some chazal say kol minei gehenom shotim.
Beseder, every beseder. But ad kedei kach, I'll tell you better, chazal, aser listakel b'fnei hakoyes. Look away, you're looking at tumah. Why? Because mistalekes, haneshama hakadosha mistalekes mimenu legamri, b'nichnesas b'mkoyma nefesh mitzad haklipa. You've now just pulled out the plug and put the plug in somewhere else. V'zeh soid mashakasu torev nafshay ba'apoy. The pasuk says, you have now destroyed, killed your nefesh with your anger. Ki mamash torev nafshay hakedusha, kedosha, va'oisa oisa treifa. Umemis oisa be'es apoy v'kasay ki mavur b'zayah. Furthermore, now I'm making a person, let's say I'm working on my neshama all day long. I daven, I'm learning, I'm doing all kinds of things. Utshuva ma'ula al kol avonosav, umitzvos rabbos ugedolos, hakol nevadim mimenu legamri. It's all gone. All gone. Lefi sharei oisa neshama hakedosh. It's very nice, you made all these tikkunim neshama, but your neshama is not with you. That very neshama, which did all of those wonderful things just a tshuva a minute ago, nischalfa b'tmeya. Now you're being generated by tumah, v'holchala. B'tzarech shiachzer pam acheres lachzer l'sakin kol hatikunim arishonim she'osav b'tzmeya. Now you have to start from go. Start from scratch. Start from start. Control Alt Delete.
You can't get it back.
No. V'chein hu b'chol pam upam kishu koyes. You have to start from start. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Nothing. You go imagine like a person is a tzaddik their whole life, and then b'yom ha'achron, he's koes. Boom. Lost it all.
You lose it completely and you don't get it back, or you lose it temporarily?
Says here, I'm just reading the Arizal. Ki bal hakas ein loy takona klal ki tamid hu kekelev shav al kev.
But all the time he was plugged into the Kedusha pipe.
Right.
Why does everything
No longer my neshama.
What can we say about
Gone.
Kas? When the Baal Kasan was always holding in Kas?
You killed
Not
the neshama.
temporarily with Kas? Like he's a
I
Baal
hope so.
One time you never get it back?
I hope so. I'm just okay. So look, haneshama shenosata bi tahiri. Ata vrasa, ata yitzarta, ata nefachta bi, ata meshamer v'kirbi. But my job is to guard the neshama. It's tahar. Hashem gave me a koach of kedusha. But if I'm koes, I've decided to unplug my heart. Can you plug it back in again? Well, katuv. Unplug my heart, and now get my energy from a different place, a different generator, a different respirator, a different external source, sitra achra, an external source. I don't know. If you take a mashal from the medical field, like how long can you go like that? How long can they put your heart on the table while you're working? Like an hour? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm saying that it's not so posh. So here, do I have covered Yom HaAtzmaut? I have another 5 minutes here. I just want to.
the Eish Zor and Strach is the same thing, not the same thing. It's a,
Oh, no, thank you. Refocus. I think there's two things here that's going on. And let's just get a haskell on this. I think there's the Indian of Tumah, which is Zumas HaNachash, which is Sitra Achra. If we draw a picture of this, we have the Sitra Achra. Zumas HaNachash Tumah Misa is your marker. And that's one thing that's going on. Another thing that could be going on is, and let's just analyze this for a second, Eish Zara. What was up with Nadav Avihu, for instance? Or anybody who, what's Eish Zara? Eish Zara is, Hashem says to do it this way, I want to do it that way. Now, it's interesting, their heart was in the right place. How do I know? Because the Torah says, B'kroivai HaKadosh, these were tzaddikim. Nevertheless, what was wrong? So this was l'chayra, not a case of plugging into the Sitra Achra, right? It was coming from a makor of kedusha, but just the way I'm understanding it is that the force was the right force, but on an isarusa de l'sato level, I want to do it my way, not your way. Like an Aver Lishma. Can't do that in the Beis Hamikdash. It's like an Aver Lishma, exactly right. No, but your technology is good, because what we're saying is that it was B'kroivai, listen to the words. Look at the choice of words. B'kroivai, very close to me. Another Vavidu, Korov, Kroivai. B'kroivai, but it didn't, the koach of the lave, the koach of the machshava is how it manifests in Dibur and how it manifests in Maisa. Their Maisa was, I got a better way. So it's kilu like an Aver Lishma, I've got a better way. I'm not going to do it your way, but my kavanah is good. So tzaddikim, but it also can't last. But that's not a Misa, which is the Misa of, it's a different kind of Misa than the Misa which is coming from Tumah, which has no sustainability at all. This is a different kind of a thing which the Torah learns out from here, the loisavei b'cholei salah kodesh. That you need to know how, on a lamaisadical level, how to work that. Now, I'm just like, let's go back. His example of, this is where it's sophisticated, complicated, complex, is the right word. There's an example of tumah which is mevi zoina, l'beis kodesh hakadashim. Shusemel Kina. Kina is something we can relate to.
Pinchas also,
Same story.
Yeah.
Then there's the example of Eish Zara, which is like Kas. So they have Kina and Kas, two different bayot. Kina and Kas. One is the Indian of Tumah. Kina is an Indian of Tumah, and Kas is down here, an Indian of Eish Zara. One's on the Lamaisa level, one's on the Lev level. Kas is the shot. It's got to be done my way. It's my way or the highway. You're not doing things my way. And I'm angry about it. I said I want it to be done this way. I'm not going to. I mean, kas is a lack of control. I don't mean that the kas is a lack of control. Ironically, like people get angry because they're not in control. You know, ironically, what happens to them is they go into a state of lack of control. You know, total drunkenness, ad kadei kach, they'll say things that they never would want to say, and they become such an ish acher in my experience. Person bekas becomes such an ish acher that if you'll say to them a half an hour later, or even 10 minutes, like, how could you say such a thing? I didn't say that. Complete amnesia. That was something as the ish acher.
That's not me.
Well, it wasn't me. That was something else, and that's all. I was just angry then. It's a pelagic irony, I think, that you know that which is caused by the fact that I feel a lack of control, it manifests itself in an ultimate lack of control, where I don't even have control over it. By deeper people kill people with their bekas.
in French they say somebody that says he's getting out of himself.
That's right. You're not. But exactly what the Arizal says, right? the Arizal says we're just machlif. Is that what he said? You're machlif your neshama tahira for some other thing, being fueled from some other place for that moment. But the point is, what I'm saying is, kas is down here, and tuma starts over here, and we have two things, but it all ends in the same way. It all ends. So whether the pagam, one is a pagam in Leiv and one's a pagam. There could be a pagam in Dibur and there's a pagam in Maisa, and either way you've short-circuited the circle which is going up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and so it's like sinas chinam is a chet b'leiv. Kas is also a chet b'leiv, but it's a type of a chet where think about kas. We all know what it is because we all get angry and experience anger. But but what is it really? Like, what's the opposite of kas? I'm accepting a situation that that exists.
Kas can be like the Shem Shemaim, and it can be
Could
a
be.
mitzvah, whereas like the Tuma, like probably could never be.
Lo yitama. There was such a case also.
Because it does come from a holy place.
Yeah, it could be. Like the Gemara says, like Haitzurba mirabanan de kamarasach. Gemara in Tainis Daf Gimel. If you see a Tzurba mirabanan, Rashi says that there's a lot of different madrigas. There's a Rav, there's a Hume Rabbanan, minor Rav. Tzurba mirabanan is like a Tzurba is a yeshiva bacher, so a newbie. So, Haitzurba mirabanan de kamarasach. If you see a yeshiva bacher get angry about something, listen to the words, or Margot words. Lav iu de kamarasach. Eloi raisa de kamaraschabe. This is B'chal, not him. These words is unbelievable. Who not me? Who is it? It's not him, because kas. That's why the Arizal, even from once you become a seasoned Ahu Merabanan, you get above that also, because even that kas is wrong. I know that the Chavetz Chaim also had a tchuna for anger. His children said he had a temper, but he was kofishin completely. The godless of the Chavetz Chaim is not that he didn't have a bad temper. The godless of the Chavetz Chaim is that he was kofishin. But his talmidim used to sit with him and try to make him angry, because when he would get angry, he would say over hashkafas about how this is wrong and that's wrong, and he would say over things that they would never get to hear. So they would try to get him angry. This will get him. Like that's what his grandchild son, Rabbi Sachs, told him. What? Kohanim B'chal, that's Gufa. That's the. But I once heard this. Don't take this the wrong way. I once heard this kind of a thing. Just to sum it up, and then we'll get back to this on Sunday session. But into the words, because it's so important, like exactly the sophistication, the complexity, as to how we affect what goes on in Shemayim and how we're affecting the entire world. Because it doesn't end here, or it doesn't end when I'm yelling at my kids or my wife, or they're yelling at me. This is something which is very, very universal and very, very global. But I'm just to get back to the original point, something which is unknown. Years and years ago, I went to. I started going to a chabura by Rav Volba, Tzaddik Livracha. So he was the mashgiach of Rabbi Yaacov Yeshiva, and then he stopped being the mashgiach of Rabbi Yaacov Yeshiva, and he opened up what's called Bais Musar. So that was when I was a buffer. So I went to his things, and it was like he was like the predecessor to Rav Moshe Shapiro, like that kind of Shiurim. That's Rav Hutner there, like it was interesting time machshava. But anyways, he said this. I didn't know this. I don't think too many people know this. He said that in Mir Yeshiva, he learned in Mir Yeshiva in Europe. So in Mir Yeshiva, like there's a lot of gedolim there in Mir Yeshiva. Rosh Yeshivas were very big. Rabbi Zidel Finkel, but the gadol of Mir Yeshiva was Rabbi Rucham. Like it was the mashgiach, but he was like people go to him for eitzah and then go to him for bracha, and he was a big Talmud Chacham. And like Rabbi Rucham was like the gadol of like the Chavetz Chaim, if you will, of Mir Yeshiva. He was the son of the elder of Slobodka. He was a very, very big person, a very, very deep person. But anyways, Rabbi Rucham, so he Ben Azmanim, Yeshiva's Mir, he had a select group of Bachrim, and he used to send them to neighboring universities to do outreach. Does that blow your mind? It does mine. Yeah, it was Ruchel was Lubavitcher. Like, what's the like? It's been Zmanim, and what does it mean outreach? Reb Volba was explaining, like, just to try to find people that are interested and learn with them some Torah. They're in this other world, and so it's interesting. Reb Volba, in parentheses, said that he himself was a product of that program of Yerucham, because he was studying in university, and one of the mirror Bachrim chapped him. That's how he came around, and his German was perfect, and his elocution was perfect, and he was just a very sophisticated intellectual. Revolva was, and he had this kind of university education, intellectual, and then he came to Yerucham. So Yerucham sent him back to university. I'm not sure which university, I don't remember, but to do Kiruv. Now Kiruv today is a whole different. I don't know if he was tabling and schmoozing with girls and stuff like that, but whatever he was doing. I don't think there were mixed universities at that time. So he was doing. So he came back to after the Ben Azmanim. So Rabbi Yerucham said to him, how did it go? He told the story, and he said he was absolutely fascinated. He was looking out of his window where he was staying, and he was absolutely fascinated by the energy of the students on campus. Like, it just seems like even more so than Mir Yeshiva, they're walking with a stride, and they look like they have a goal, and they're animated in their discussions of philosophy and math and whatever they're talking about. And they're like, really, this was like, do you ever? I relate to. I was at university, but I never saw that. But sometimes, like, you go, let's go to Midtown Manhattan, and and you just look up. And there's, you can't even see the tops of the buildings, and it's all money. It's all just money being traded by computers, skyscrapers and skyscrapers. Everything's surrounding money, lawyers surrounding money, and everything's money, and it's a skyscraper. But there's a certain energy there. I felt the same thing in Hong Kong. You go to Hong Kong, you go to the financial district. Also, there's a certain electricity there, which is an amazing thing. This is electricity that he felt when he went to the campus. He said, I don't feel that electricity in Mir Yeshiva. So Rabbi Yerucham told him that's the koach of the Sitra Achra. Now, I'm not making here like an anti-university or anti-money camp. I'm just saying that it's I'm all for money. What I'm saying is that it's so interesting, like, what is energizing and what's animating, and what's exciting the molecules here in Aretz. And sometimes you could see something which, once you're walking in the Beis Medrash, you're walking tired, and slapping coffee, and put your head down. Like the koach of kedusha is more chalash, because it's more. It's like you become a vegetarian all of a sudden. You're supposed to feel great. Woo. You don't feel great. I'm telling you, you don't feel great because you're missing like all the or if you stop eating sugar, you're supposed to feel great when you stop eating sugar. You don't. I'm telling you, you don't. You feel weak. Now, I think eventually, your body starts to work in a different way. So I said the Vilna Gaon said the Vilna Gaon has a tremendous amount of koach and tremendous amount of merits, and he didn't need to sleep much, and he didn't need to eat much. He had a tremendous amount of koach, and was uncommon in the world of Torah to have so much koach. He didn't do, he didn't go jogging or lift weights or anything. It was the koach. So he said, this is Torah L'Shma. So when there's Torah L'Shma, so the energy gets stronger and stronger. That's the nakuda here. Like, you got to really temper that. But it's kedai. That's the point. It's kedai because now you're being energized from kedusha. And if you're energized from kedusha, not from sitra achra, every word that you say is Torah. That's das Torah. You have a koach of bracha. You have a koach of shalom. You have a koach of nichum avelim. But tzelem alikim. Mamash tzelem alikim coming into this world. You go to be menachem avol, you have a koach to be menachem. It's not just you have siyata d'shmaya. You have the same koach Hashem has to be menachem. You have the koach of building because Hashem, because you tell him Elohim, Hashem is the koach of building. So if you could do all that lishma, you could tap into an energy which is the Yetzer Hara says don't tap into that energy because I'm not as excited about that energy. You tap into the other energy, but that other energy has misa associated with it. It works on the short term, it doesn't work on the long term. And these are the two paragraphs, I believe, of Nefesh Hachaim, which we need to figure out what are the ramifications of each. And how that goes with the Bais HaMikdash.
Before the Chet,